Hello, friends. Probably many of you have already heard and seen these loud advertising slogans: start your day with a cup of aromatic coffee, or take your coffee to go. These slogans are literally everywhere, and they all say the same thing: coffee is what each of us needs. It's hard to disagree with that, as in recent years this beverage has gained incredible popularity. Just imagine, approximately 1.5 billion cups of coffee are consumed around the world every day. And interestingly, a third of that is accounted for by one of the most well-known brands in the world, Nescafé. These statistics are astonishing. About 50% of green coffee is turned into instant coffee, and in England, instant coffee even dominates over ground coffee. The coffee market is one of the largest in the world, alongside industries such as pharmaceuticals, weapons, automobiles, and electronics. It would be unwise to overlook such a niche, especially when discussing the biggest players, as today the Nescafé brand is represented in over 200 countries and has a significant influence on the economies of some of them. The success story of this brand becomes even more interesting when we look at how it all started and how events unfolded. The story of the Nescafé brand began back in the 1930s at Nestlé, the world's largest food manufacturer, which I will introduce to you in the following videos. At that time, the Brazilian Coffee Institute approached Nestlé with a request to find a way to preserve and process the vast reserves of coffee beans. At that moment, Nestlé was already recognized as a leader in food development, and they executed this challenging task exceptionally well. During those years, Brazil faced a problem. Due to a lack of technology, coffee reserves worth billions of dollars were wasted every year. Additionally, storing coffee beans after drying required special conditions. Nestlé took on the challenging task of developing a method for processing coffee and preserving the beans. The goal was ambitious: to create a powder that could be stored for a long time. The search for the formula for instant coffee was taken on by Swiss chemist and coffee enthusiast Max Morgenthaler. He was born in 1901 into a creative family. His brothers were an artist and a writer, while Max showed a talent for chemistry. After graduating from the Technical University of Zurich in 1924, he continued his career as a PhD student at the University of Vienna and ran his own laboratory. Later, he worked at the Federal Dairy Bacteriology Institute for 3 years before joining Nestlé as the chief technologist. Thus began the journey to creating one of the most popular coffee brands in the world. Interestingly, even in the early stages of his work, Max Morgenthaler tried to mix Arabica and Robusta to create instant coffee. However, he was not pleased with the result. The drink did dissolve, but it was not tasty. Max, being a connoisseur of quality coffee, considered this a failure and temporarily abandoned the idea of creating an instant beverage. But fate had other plans. He did not know then that he would return to the laboratory to continue his research, this time with the goal of creating a formula for instant coffee for mass production. During his experiments, Max discovered that coffee stored better when processed under high temperature and pressure. Another important discovery was that the taste and aroma of instant coffee improved when milk and sugar were added. Despite a series of failures, small discoveries eventually led to success. After long 8 years of work, in 1936, Morgenthaler finally produced the desired instant coffee, which could be prepared in seconds, stored for longer, and was convenient to use. The management of Nestlé was thrilled and, after negotiating with Brazilian partners, decided to launch a factory for the production of instant coffee in the Swiss town of Orbe. On April 1, 1938, Nescafé in its original packaging appeared on the shelves of Swiss stores for the first time. The product instantly captured the hearts of coffee lovers, and an advertisement published in a Swiss newspaper highlighted its quality, ease of preparation, and long shelf life. Soon, Nescafé secured a strong position in the Swiss market. Even the onset of World War II in 1939 could not hinder its success. On the contrary, the demand for instant coffee sharply increased during the war years, and all products from the second factory in the United States were supplied to the army. Thus, Nescafé became part of the history and daily life of millions of people. For instance, by 1943, the company had sent 1 million packages of instant coffee to the front. Like all brilliant innovations, Nescafé was distinguished by its ease of preparation, which became its main feature. However, the most significant advantage was the invigorating properties of the drink, making it indispensable for soldiers in wartime conditions. The popularity of Nescafé brought substantial revenues to Nestlé even during the war when many other companies went bankrupt. While competitors were losing ground, Nescafé was rapidly growing. After the war, the company expanded its market reach, starting to export coffee to France and the United Kingdom. Interestingly, the Allies, studying the rations of American soldiers, were surprised to find a product that they did not have: instant coffee. By the way, the name Nescafé was not particularly complicated. It is derived from a simple combination of the words Nestlé and café. Another interesting fact is that the father of instant coffee, Max Morgenthaler, hardly ever drank his own creation. He always preferred traditional coffee brewed in a pot using the classic recipe. But, friends, this was just the beginning of great success. In the 1950s, Nescafé became the favorite drink of teenagers flocking to cafes to listen to rock and roll, the symbol of that era. However, Nestlé did not stand still and constantly improved the formula of its product. In 1952, a breakthrough was made in the French town of Saint-Meme. A technology was developed for producing instant coffee without using a carbohydrate base. This meant that from then on, Nescafé became 100% natural, as its production was free from artificial additives. A significant role in strengthening the brand's success was played by one accidental but very successful advertisement. In 1953, during the first ascent of Everest by Edmund Hillary in Tenzing Norgay, a photograph was taken with a small tin can of Nescafé coffee. This historical event was widely covered in the media around the world, and the simple photograph turned out to be extremely beneficial for the company, boosting its sales. Later, the Nescafé can would go on several great journeys, including the Apollo 11 mission and a flight to the moon with the astronauts. The 1960s became a time of improvements for Nescafé. The company's laboratories developed a freeze-drying method, a process that allowed coffee to be frozen and dried while preserving its flavor and aroma. This was another step that solidified Nescafé's success in the global market. In simple terms, since the introduction of freeze-drying technology, coffee began to be dried at low temperatures, which helped retain its natural aroma and make the flavor richer. That same year, Nestlé launched the production of sublimated instant coffee, and the famous Nescafé Gold appeared on store shelves, with a light caramel aroma and smooth taste. Then, in 1965, coffee that many of us are familiar with, Nescafé in glass jars, hit the market. This product became a hit in just one day and instantly became the best-selling coffee in the world. The first country where Nescafé in glass jars appeared was Japan, and just a year later, the product conquered European supermarkets. But the success story did not end there. Just 2 years later, Nescafé introduced granulated coffee, and the exact composition of this product remains a commercial secret to this day. In the 1970s, the company continued to grow, opening new factories and expanding its product range. Although new flavors were not released very often, each launch was an important achievement. For example, Nescafé released a cappuccino recipe. Interestingly, cappuccino was first launched under the Nestlé brand as a trial version but did not find success. Nescafé improved the flavor by adding a delicate aftertaste, and the drink became popular, especially because it could be made without a coffee maker. However, the company was not planning to stop. In 1992, Nestlé decided to take a risky step, adding various flavorings to the coffee. This was a difficult but important move. Thanks to a unique flavoring technology, Nestlé once again outpaced its competitors, starting a new phase in the production of elite Nescafé varieties with unique aromas. Of course, the company's designers also contributed to the brand's success. They updated the packaging, making the elite Nescafé coffee varieties recognizable from afar. In 1994, the company's experts developed a new technology called full aroma. This product stood out for its pronounced aroma of real whole bean coffee, immediately winning over drink enthusiasts. Nescafé also uses a secret roasting technology that gives the coffee a special, unique aroma, making the taste of the drink truly divine. Few people know that Nestlé has a second well-known coffee brand, Nespresso. The coffee capsule for this brand was invented by Eric Favre in 1975. The feature of the capsule lies in its design, a hemispherical shape with a filter and membrane, hermetically sealed with aluminum foil, which preserves the flavor and aroma of the coffee. A special coffee machine was developed for these capsules, and the first model, the C100, was introduced in 1986. However, in the early years, the coffee machines were positioned as devices for offices and did not gain much popularity. In 1988, the company changed its strategy, emphasizing the premium nature of the product by promoting the capsules under the Grand Cru brand. Sales were conducted via pre-orders, and Nestlé operators would only pick up the phone after the third call to create the impression of high demand for the product. Thanks to this clever positioning, the Nespresso brand continues to thrive, having won many fans around the world. Grand Cru has 24 subsidiary brands, and the number of Nespresso coffee machine varieties has surpassed 50. Capsules can only be purchased through the official website, by phone, or in brand stores. In 2006, Nestlé hired George Clooney for the Nespresso advertising campaign, signing a 6-year contract worth about $40 million. These investments paid off for the company in just a few months. The capsules became a new niche for Nestlé alongside instant coffee and turned out to be a real gold mine. In recent years, Nestlé has invested about $500 million to support farmers growing coffee in countries such as China, Indonesia, Colombia, the Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, Mexico, and Ecuador. These investments are aimed at finding new flavors and production technologies, as well as establishing long-term cooperation with trusted suppliers who work exclusively for Nestlé. Today, Nescafé offers the widest range of products in various packaging formats designed to suit any taste and consumer needs. Despite the diversity, the company continues to adhere to its main tenet: Nescafé is the best soluble coffee in the world. In 2017, Nestlé also acquired the rights to use the Starbucks brand, further strengthening its position in the coffee market. The deal to acquire the Starbucks brand cost Swiss company Nestlé $7 billion. According to Bloomberg, Nestlé's management believes that this deal will allow them to expand their presence in the American market and increase revenues. CEO Mark Schneider noted that Nestlé aims to unite the 3 major coffee brands in the world, Starbucks, Nescafé, and Nespresso, which will help attract more potential consumers. Regarding coffee-producing countries, Brazil has held a leading position for over 100 years. Most brands source coffee beans from this South American country, where the variety of Arabica exceeds 40 types, and the high quality of the raw material makes Brazilian coffee one of the best in the world. Colombia, Kenya, and Guatemala follow in quality. Arabica and Robusta dominate the market among coffee varieties. Arabica is the most valuable type, cultivated in 50 countries worldwide, and accounts for more than 70% of the market share. Depending on the region where the plants are grown, the flavor notes of the future drink change, making coffee so diverse and unique. The most valuable variety is considered to be Brazilian bourbon, and there are about 45 varieties in total. Arabica is known for its rich and vibrant flavor, as well as its low caffeine content. Arabica beans have a deep color and glossy surface. Robusta, on the other hand, is primarily African coffee, containing more caffeine, which makes the drink strong and invigorating, but with a bitterness. The taste of Robusta is usually rich and surprisingly not bright, which is why it is more often used in blends, adding other varieties to it. Robusta's share of the mass consumption market is about 20%. An interesting fact: the same coffee beans can be purchased by different producers, who process the product using their own technologies. Thus, coffee in granules, roasted beans, or ground powder from different brands may differ, but essentially it is the same coffee. And this is the reality of Nescafé, a story of discoveries, achievements, and world leadership that has changed our understanding of coffee. Friends, how do you feel about coffee, especially instant coffee? Be sure to share your opinions in the comments. I hope this video was informative for you. If you liked it, please rate it as you see fit. See you soon, and goodbye.